Good afternoon, and thanks for being here to talk about philanthropy and about St. Edward's. So, Simone, what do you recall of your first experience of charitable giving?
I remember my parents having fundraisers at our house, providing clothing, providing eyeglasses. My parents were heavily involved in Lions. It was just part of our value system. And we had this way of being where it was, you are given benefits in life, lots of blessings. You have to give back, and you have to lift others along the way. So that has just been second nature for me. It's like just part of living.
It's really interesting. Everything Simone said also applies to me. And I think the reason why we are such good friends for such a long time is that even though we grew up in different continents and different cultures and different everything, the values that our families shared were so similar. I think philanthropy starts really most likely in families. So my family also was very giving. My mother always had a group of people around her that she helped in different ways. And that was a group that was getting enlarged as time went by. More and more were added to it because it gave her such pleasure. And I, by watching her, learned the value of, giving to your community, to those who are less privileged than you are. To me, Simone is my sister, is not just a friend. The first thing we did ever together as kids, really, as college students, we had, that there was an international club. I was the president, Simone was the vice president. We heard of a Nigerian student. We heard that he had passed away suddenly. There was a process for sending him back home and so on and so forth. And there was all financial issues. And so we decided that we will do something to raise money, to donate. And we did that, actually. I remember we set up a table in the middle of Moody Hall on the ground floor. We had baked stuff that we were selling, but also we're saying, if you can please donate, if you don't want to buy something, if you can donate, whatever you can.
And what was powerful about that too, it was just so many of us, from all these different cultures, right? Chipping in and supporting someone we don't even know, right? But because there was a need, we contributed. So people gave what they could.
Was that your first formal fundraising program that you ever did?
At St. Edward's, at the International Club, we did a lot of fundraising.
We had a party once.
Yes. So we were innovative, entrepreneurial in our sense of raising funds.
That's great. Ellie, is there a particular philanthropic experience that stands out for you as the most exciting or your favorite?
I can't say that I have a favorite. I always want to do things for children and, women and for immigrants. These are the areas that both Simone and I have been very involved with. If I were to pick one or two, I would say there was this beautiful 5-year-old Iraqi boy that unfortunately in the beginning of, the war, somebody just poured fuel on him and set him on fire. And I've been very involved with Children's Burn Foundation in Los Angeles. We actually tried to bring him here, and in doing so, somehow CNN found out, and then CNN had a report on it. And this was about maybe 13, 14 years ago. And so we brought him over to the US, did perform many, many surgeries. And this year he graduated from high school and he looks great. I mean, he looks almost, not quite 100% yet, because he still has, surgeries that he has to do, but he has a normal life, which is important, and there are many examples. There was another girl from Afghanistan, similar thing. And she had a longer period of surgeries and she's back to normal. You can't even tell that. And her face was destroyed and it's completely back to me. She's married, she has children now. You want to affect someone's life in a positive way in hopes that they will pay it forward.
You've been involved with a lot of different organizations, and how do you prioritize who's going to receive your time or charitable contributions? And where does St. Edward's fall on that list for you?
I work with people of diverse faiths and cultures to promote respect and understanding. And it's so interesting because when I was on the Hill at St. Edward's, through the International Club, I got to meet people from all over the world. And that's what I continue doing today in the work that I do.
Mhm.
So St. Edward's has a real close connection to me in my daily work. I believe that St. Edward's, holds a future. We have lots of brilliant young minds, and I just love staying connected with young people through St. Edward's.
And when it comes to faith, obviously, Brothers of Holy Cross, they had definitely an effect on us. That was one of the gifts that we received from St. Edward's. It was gift of charity, being nice to, being nice to your neighbors, being nice to your community, to everybody. As I always say, that is where I found myself. I think before then, I was just, my parents were so-and-so and I was their daughter, but when I came to St. Edward's, I became me. I had to be somebody of my own, and show that I have integrity, show that I have respect, show that I deserve to receive the things that I wanted to receive. So that was, to me, a huge stepping stone towards becoming the person that I was going to become. St. Ed's is a very special place. I come back to St. Ed's and I feel, energized, and I feel that, oh, this is where I belong.
You both have a history of volunteer leadership at the university. Simone, you on the alumni board, and Ellie currently on the board of trustees. How has that volunteer relationship furthered your complete relationship with the university?
Alumni involvement is necessary so that the university could continue to grow in its reputation. And I think that was one of the biggest lessons for me and Ellie too, because that was a different way of thinking, that, you just don't end after your 4-year degree or your graduate degree. The relationship continues. It's just a different type of relationship.
And being involved with the university, we learned that, the ranking of the university is pretty much based on the involvement of the alumni. So every time I spoke to a group of alumni, I would say, please give something, even if you give $50. It's not the amount that matters. Of course, the more you give, the more we're able to do with that money. But it is really the concept of giving that is important, because the larger the number of the alumni that contribute to the university, the higher the ranking of the university. And now we're at number 8. A lot of people just don't know that small contributions, help so much.
And also to just the building of a network, a support network, because when students graduate and they go into different communities, it is really beneficial for alumni to strengthen their network, so that students have a place where they can land and have job opportunities, be welcome into this new community, this new and just increase networking opportunities.
What do you think that St. Edward's could be doing better to engage our alumni, particularly the women?
If you want it, you got to have an example of it. You have, if you want more women involved, well, have more women so that people can model, right? If you want more Latinos, you have make sure and have more Latinos in leadership. If you want more African Americans, you need to make sure you have more African Americans in leadership positions.
Going back to, example of us being, students here, when for the international club, they always had male presidents. And I remember when I said, well, when Simone and I, always together, always a team, so when the two of us ran and I ran for president, I was the first female president of St. Ed's. And I was uplifted. They always said, oh, the first female president. And it made me feel so good, because you realize, okay, I'm not any less than my male counterparts. And I think empowering women is very important, because generally speaking, women are the ones who raise the next generation. And when you empower women, you have empowered the next generation of those children that are being raised by those women.
So if you had a whole audience of alumni right in front of you, what would you say to them? What would be your message regarding their support for the university?
You start where you are and you build up. Nobody is saying, well, it'll be great if you have millions to give millions, right? That's awesome. But you give from where you are. There are so many ways that you could be involved in lifting students up. Mentor, you can mentor a student. You can just share your expertise with the university. And we have a lot of young people who are just amazing. And what is so beautiful about the students at St. Edward's, not only do they have great intelligence, they have great hearts.
I remember I was a student at St. Ed's. It was one of the honors nights that I would attend because I usually would receive something, and I was very happy to be there every year. I remember sitting there watching, and Emma Lou Lynn had a scholarship, and she actually went on stage, and I thought to myself, this is a great way. I will someday do the same thing. So by that example, I decided as a student at St. Ed's, I decided to someday form a scholarship. I don't know, maybe 15 years went by, and I was at a position where I could actually do that consistently. I called the development office, and I left a message, and I introduced myself. I said, I'm so I like to donate, and I would like to possibly set up a scholarship. I would like to, pay it forward. I would like to contribute back to this place that I love so much. And if you can set it up. And he set it up. And I said, one of the criterias is that I want this to be recognized at the honors night, because that made a difference in my life. And I hope that kids who are sitting there, students who are sitting there and watching this one or two people receiving this scholarship someday do the same thing, and will, set up a scholarship. So I think it's important to give back, however you can.
Do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
When we work together, we all benefit, and we are stronger together.
When you give, like when you make a donation to a school, you may not know what a difference you're making in someone's life. So I think it's important. If you can, please do.